speaking of the scariest women of all time, we got the next one is top 10 scariest WWE women of all time. Cause let's just say I'll try to put up my own top 10 of the scariest woman wrestler and on my own if I could. But right about now, oh, let's get into it. Three, two, one, go.
When you think of the scariest wrestlers of all time, names like Kane, The Undertaker, The Boogeyman, and many more come to mind. While we've seen plenty of terrifying men in WWE, the ladies have also shown their darker side. We ranked them, so let's find out who the top 10 scariest WWE women of all time are. Number 10, Nicole Bass.
That is one big female.
Standing at
R.I.P.
6'2" and weighing 240 pounds, Nicole Bass was one of the most physically threatening women to ever wrestle in WWE. Her extensive background in bodybuilding gave her muscles that even men would be jealous of. While Nicole Bass had a mean and rough look, I'm putting her pretty low because she never did anything that was really scary, partially due to her having a short run in WWE. Even with all that, Nicole Bass is still one of the freakiest women to ever step in a WWE ring. Number 9, Mad Maxine. Taking inspiration from the movie Mad Max and the superhero Storm from X-Men, Mad Maxine debuted in WWE in 1985.
Oh,
Not only did her look and attire make her a scary competitor, but the fact that she stood 6 foot 4 inches tall was another reason her opponents feared her. Combine all of that and her ability to throw her adversaries around the ring, and you have one terrifying wrestler. Mad Maxine's time in WWE was pretty short, but given that she's one of the tallest female stars to ever wrestle in the company, you wonder if she could have been one of the greats had she stayed a little longer. Well, at the very least, she's made our list as one of the scariest.
I didn't know she was
Number 8,
me.
Bull Nakano.
Hey,
Boy, this could be dangerous right here. Ball on top. There it goes.
Being one of the first female Japanese wrestlers to compete in WWE, Bull Nakano had to make an impression, and she definitely did. Her size alone made her an intense competitor, but what really made her scary was her face. Her hair and face paint were frightening by themselves, but add in her dead serious eyes, and you have one freaky lady. Besides just her presence, Nakano's ability to bend her opponents' bodies was another reason her opponents had to be concerned. This helped her win the WWE Women's Championship and hold it for a respectable 5 months, which is just another reason to fear Bull Nakano. Number 7, Karma. Formerly known as Awesome
What happened
Khan,
to-
Karma debuted in
what happened to,
WWE in
Karma?
2011.
Also known as
Promo
Awesome
videos depicted her ripping body parts off of dolls as she laughed maniacally. So Karma was already a
remember that.
disturbing wrestler before we saw her. Once she debuted, Karma began destroying the female roster, with no one being able to stop her. In addition to everything previously mentioned, Karma's size also made her scary, especially at the time. She was larger and stronger than any of the divas on the roster, and in general,
Thank you.
one of the biggest women in WWE history. Her time in WWE came to an abrupt end, but her terrifying character definitely won't be forgotten anytime soon. Number 6, Alexa Bliss. Ever since she appeared under that black veil at Extreme Rules, Alexa Bliss has been getting more and more twisted. Her new look is creepy, but what I think has made Bliss really scary is how quickly her emotions change. She'll go from being
She definitely is the Alexa Bliss vibe. I mean, not Alexa Bliss. I mean Harley Quinn vibe because a lot of people say that she is reminding me of Harley Quinn, and and Bray Wyatt, the Joker. That's totally makes sense for now because that's how she actually really is for that one because look at her. I ain't never seen anything like this one before in my life, man. But somehow she's creeping me out, and I don't know what's going on with her. But I think it's more creepier than Nikki Cross because she is more like craziness, you know, Yeah.
made Bliss really scary is how quickly her emotions change. She'll go from being
Yeah.
spaced out and quiet, to happy and excited, to dead serious. In fact, I had to put her on the list for this moment alone.
Wow, this is delicious. What's in it?
Arsenic.
Even though Alexa's twisted persona is still pretty new, you must be doing something right when even Randy Orton is creeped out. With that said, Alexa Bliss could easily be ranked higher on this top 10, but her storyline is still ongoing, and we don't know what direction it'll head. But if the future is anything like we've seen so far, Alexa Bliss could easily become the scariest woman WWE's ever seen.
Oh.
Number 5, Ariel.
This is not a costume. I dress like this every day.
Just by looks alone, Ariel is already a pretty freaky wrestler, especially with those fangs and the rope she wore out to the ring. The way she made her entrance by dangling from the ropes like a bat was just another thing that made her uneasy to watch. The card reader wasn't just creepy before her matches, but when she wrestled as well. Her blood-curdling screams and licking her palms while she beat down opponents were both pretty disturbing. Just don't have her throw any punches. Maybe the scariest thing about Ariel, though, was how she acted around Kevin Thorne. They often embraced each other, but not in a fun, romantic way, but more in a weird, disturbing way. I guess they are vampires. While most, if not all, the female stars on the WWE roster at the time were made to look as beautiful as possible, Ariel wasn't afraid to get a little twisted. Number 4, Katie Lee. When I started working on this video, I didn't think Katie Lee would be this high up. On the surface, Katie Lee isn't that scary looking. Sure, she has kind of a goth look going on, but nothing too terrifying. What puts her this high on the top 10 is her relationship with her on-screen brother, Paul Burchill. Back when she debuted in 2008, Katie and Paul had a low-key incest thing going on, with them saying things like,
"The most beautiful man in the world, my big brother Paul."
And
every brother loves to make his little sister happy.
to be fair, it was never heavily implied, but nonetheless, the fact that I'm even talking about a WWE wrestler and incest is messed up. While the incest thing wasn't directly stated, Katie's obsession with watching others in pain was made perfectly clear.
All that's ever made me happy is to watch my brother Paul inflict pain upon others.
If this isn't the beginning of a horror movie villain, I don't know what is. Number 3, Mickie James. While today, Mickie James is pretty level-headed, she wasn't always this way. When James debuted in 2005, she made it clear how obsessed she was with Trish Stratus.
I mean, I idolize you. I love you, Trish. I mean, I want to be just like you. That's awesome. Yeah. Okay.
Every week, the obsession got creepier and creepier, with Mickie James forcing herself onto both Stratus as well as Trish's boyfriend. If that wasn't strange enough, after she became a full-blown heel, Mickie James kidnapped Ashley Massaro and gave her as a gift to Trish Stratus. There's plenty of other examples, but you get the picture. I think what made this version of Mickie James so scary was how real it felt. Mickie James didn't dress in weird clothes or wear creepy face paint. She was just a normal person, but with some deep psychological issues. Hearing stories of how insane some wrestling fans are only makes Mickie James' obsession with Trish even scarier. James would be ranked even higher, but the obsessed fangirl character only lasted about a year, and she's better known today for being an awesome in-ring competitor. However, no matter where her career goes, Mickie James will still be one of the scariest women to ever appear in WWE. Number 2, Sherry Martel. There's a reason she got the nickname Scary Sherry. In addition to her bizarre makeup and wardrobe choices, Sherry was just insane, both inside and outside the ring. Combining her shrieking voice with her outbursts made her both the center of attention and terrifying at the same time.
Is the threat real? Yes, sir, we believe it. I know you won't fail us. Pre-order now.
PlayStation.
I figured.
Jerry! You truly are sensational!
Even though she was mainly a manager in WWE, Sherry didn't just talk. Martel would often get physical, and she could deliver some pretty vicious beatdowns. Because of these attributes, and many more, Sherri will be remembered forever, even in our nightmares. And number 1, Luna Vachon. Luna makes it into this top 10 just on her looks. Her half-shaved hair and the blood vessels on the left side of her face make her the scariest looking female wrestler of all time. Not only did Luna have a terrifying look, but her voice was pure nightmare fuel.
I will be the goddess of the square circle.
That might be the scariest thing about Luna. When she returned to the WWE during the Attitude Era, Luna's alliances with Goldust and later Gangrel only made her that much more terrifying. Not only was Luna scary outside of the ring, but in it as well. Her strength and athleticism allowed her to manhandle her opponents, and, as her appearance would suggest, Luna was ruthless. Through her look, in-ring ability, and that dreadful voice, Luna Vachon is our pick for scariest WWE woman of all time. Shout out and thank you to Caesar Cardenas for commenting on our last video. Who do you think is the scariest woman in WWE history? Let us know in the comments.
I got a lot list who might be the scary ones. Scary scary woman wrestlers of all time, and so yeah, but make sure y'all comment down below what's the scariest wrestler, including man, including woman at the same time. So comment down below, and I'll see you next video.